Welcome everyone to this episode of Productive Environment Podcast. I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute. I'm joining you today from Carolina Beach, North Carolina. We're going to be talking to you about the biggest secrets of marketing productivity. And I'm joined today by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And we are excited to introduce you to our amazing guest who I have known through her work for about 20 years. I know she doesn't look old enough, and we were not old enough to know each other that long, but Milana Leshinsky is joining us today. And Milana, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yes.
So guys, we are so excited to talk to you. I'm going to share this again real quick. The biggest secrets of marketing productivity. As you know, most of you that join our podcast are here for productivity, like how to get organized, how to be more productive. And many of you are business owners. Many of you are business owners, and you always want to know, like, what are we doing and what do people do? And anybody that's in business has to be able to market and work on their marketing. And that's a big chunk of what we do as entrepreneurs, isn't it? Is the marketing piece. And how do we fit that all in? And Milana is one of the most creative people. Milana, I'll talk to you. You're one of the most creative people I have ever met in how you work. You don't do things like other people do things. And even what we're going to talk about today, I'm super excited about what you're going to share. This new thing that you have created is super exciting. So all of you guys watching, make sure you stay through the whole thing so you can find out what she's up to now.
And I just have to throw in here, you've been on, that music is one of my big loves, and I'm a musician, and Milana's a music teacher. So there's that piano in the background.
Right behind me. Yes.
Right. That's right.
So Milana, welcome, Milana. We're so happy.
Tell them a little bit about yourself. You've got a unique history and how you got here. So in a nutshell, let everybody know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So I always start by saying that I'm a music teacher from Ukraine. I've been saying that for 33 years, ever since I came here. And I was fortunate enough to discover coaching very early on. 2002, I started my business, and just kind of got really into the coaching space, and saw a lot of coaches come and go. It's been 22 years now. A lot of coaches survived and a lot of coaches didn't. In fact, I recently was searching for some of the names that I used to know, and they're nowhere to be found, including some of my own coaches. And I'm convinced it has to do with marketing or challenges around marketing. So I'm excited to talk about marketing productivity and the role it plays in your business. But it's thank you for saying that, Andrea. You've seen me through the multiple iterations of my business. I'm now running a software called Coaching Genie for coaches. I run marketing coaching programs, and I don't do things the way everybody else does. I don't know.
You never did. Well, let me mention this, because I think one of the very first things that attracted me to you, or that I found online about you, was right shortly. I can't remember. You'll have to remind me if it was before or after the 4-Hour Work Week came out. You did a podcast, or they didn't even have podcast
training. I did,
training on the 20-hour work week, and I thought that's more realistic. The 20-hour work week. I like that. And you talked about, how you did that. Now that was 19 years ago. So you had small children at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then many people watching this podcast right now, you probably participate in telesummits, teleconferences, things like that, right? And then Zoom came along. We do web-based webinars and things like that. Well, Milana has a claim to fame. So Milana, I'll let you share that.
Yeah, I mean, the word telesummit didn't exist until 2004 when I came up with it. And most people are very surprised to hear that. They don't call them telesummits anymore. I think they call them virtual summits. But it was still, I'm telling you, like you blink one direction, blink in another direction, and you invent something in 2002, 2003, 2004, because it was just so early in the internet marketing and the coaching industry that many things were innovative. No matter what you did, it was just so easy to create something new. But I had two small kids, and I watched all these coaching conferences going on in different states and countries, and I couldn't go anywhere. And I just had a major FOMO, fear of missing out. And I thought, well, I'll create my own and I'll do it from home. And apparently I wasn't the only one who wanted that kind of an event, and many people signed up. And the very first telesummit was in 2005, and I just hosted my last one, not my last one, but my latest one a few months ago. So yes, and and I will tell you something funny. In 2008, when I was putting together my third telesummit, I invited a speaker, and she said, well, people are tired of summits. People are tired of telesummits. That was 2008.
Oh my goodness.
16 years ago? And look at us now. We're still running summits and telesummits and virtual summits. So, the feeling of people being tired of telesummits was so wrong and so not on point, because it's an event, and events will never go out of style, just like books will never go out of style. So I love telling that story because that was 16 years ago.
Well, it also supports, it's the idea of being a pioneer. And I think, we share that, because when I started the organizing industry, the first ad 46 years ago, no one had ever heard of hiring someone to organize their house, let alone their closet, their offices,
Office,
And the Small Business Administration in Washington, D.C. told me I was crazy, that wasn't a good business idea. And look at it now. So there are other people on this call that have ideas that I think God puts on he creates us to do those things. And we don't need to listen to what other people say. We just need to keep persevering. And you are a vivid example of perseverance. So that's great.
Thank you for saying that. And I have to say, organizing was so new to me. I couldn't imagine letting somebody into my office, let alone into my house. But my best friend, who is now my best friend, was an organizer. And at the time, she was a stranger to me, but she made me feel comfortable. And I let her into my home and office, and she organized everything. And I loved it. And I said, wow, people do this for a living. What an exciting profession. So I was new to it. That was 2003, I think.
Wow.
So you are definitely an innovator. And, I don't know how you came up with the idea, Barbara, of creating this professional organizing profession. But for me,
it was just, I didn't intend for it to be a movement. I had small children, one with special needs, and I needed to make money. And I decided the way to make money was to find a problem in the world that I could solve, that people would pay me for it. And
I was just solving my own problem. That's what I was going to say. Like, you were solving your own problem. I was solving my own problem.
That's right.
And that's how we came up with all of our inventions.
You guys are innovators. You're innovators, you're pioneers, and the timing of it. So I actually found Barbara in 2005. I was working a job and worked for someone who was pretty disorganized. It was situational disorganization, I think, or circumstantial disorganization. And I was looking specifically for paper. Like, I was a pretty organized person, but specifically for paper, I needed help how to organize paper, because I would organize my boss with words that I would look for, the traditional filing system. And she would come back and she would be looking for it under a whole completely different name. And she's like, it looks great, but I can't find anything. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And that's how I found Barbara. So that was 2005, a year after you invented the telesummit, or right around that same time. So I found you right around that same time and started following you. I actually signed up for a piece of software. Now, I don't know if yes, it was yours. You created the assessment generator, didn't you?
I did.
That's yours. Yes.
Yes, long time ago. It's no longer called assessment generator.
I know. I still have it.
Into something different, but they definitely turn it into a class act product. I'm very proud of them, because there came a point where I just could no longer run a software company. I wasn't ready. I'm ready now, but I wasn't ready then. And so I ended up selling it to my virtual assistant, and now her whole family is running the business.
Wow. Well, I still have it. I still pay for it every single month. I can't.
No.
Yeah, because I can't let it go because it has, and I do use it. I don't use it as often as we could use it in PEI. But with our masters, certified productive environment specialist masters, when they finish their training, I have an assessment that I give them shortly or sometime after their training. And it's in there. And I'm like, every time I look at that account, I'm like, there's so many more things we could do with this. And so I keep it because I know we're going to use it. But it was the only of its kind at that time, I believe. Doing the assessments and having a software where you can create them themselves. So anyway, you are just, like I said, you're an innovator. You're an idea person like Barbara. Now, I think, Milana, you and I talked a little bit about this or communicated a little bit about this. You, I think, are a wonderful blend of Barbara and me. So we call each other peanut butter and jelly. So you must be the sandwich because you're a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because you have these wonderful big ideas and you're an implementer. So I'm the implementer. I'm the behind the scenes, like I know you like to go into your zone, and work and, come out the other side with this amazing new thing. So I feel like you're a blend of both of us. So you have the idea and you create it.
I mean, I still need a team.
Of course you have a team. Yes, you need a team, but you
Yes.
do a little of both of that. Which
what Andrea is saying, Milana, is that I am truly the visionary, the big picture. But the execution is like, forget it. That is not me, which is why I'm so blessed, because if it were just me by myself, nothing would ever happen.
Well, I don't know if you are into human design, but I just recently found out that I'm a manifesting generator, which is somebody who both creates the ideas and then integrates them.
That is you. Yep. Spot on.
Well, and one of the principles of Productive Environment Institute is half, which I learned from my father on the farm in Nebraska, was half of any job is having the right tool. And today we want to talk about a new tool that you've created. So tell us about it. How did it come into being and how can people use it? Because I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, well, I think you're talking about the Marketing Mojo method. And it's actually the smallest product that I've ever created. It's a card deck, and I have it right here on my desk, and I'm just gonna stick it into the camera. It's 44 cards, and each card is about marketing. And the reason that it's called Marketing Mojo method is because a lot of times when people learn marketing, they have to use a lot of their left brain power. They have to really learn the tactics and the strategies and the formulas. It becomes very formulaic, and especially coaches don't love that approach. They really resist marketing. A lot of people resist marketing and ultimately avoid it. And I don't know if you've experienced that with your own clients or in your own business, but a lot of people avoid marketing because it feels too formulaic. It feels difficult. And so what I wanted to do is, somebody who is a former music teacher and loves to create, I wanted to find a more creative and intuitive way to not only learn marketing, but to unlock your marketing mojo, right? Because it's really about the confidence. When somebody tells me they don't know how to market, I always say, yes, you do. You're on my webinar. You've seen me promote the webinar. You know that a webinar is one of the marketing strategies because you're here. So you know how to market, and you see social media ads, you see Facebook ads all the time, and you receive emails. So you know that people send out emails. So you know how to market, but you choose not to because you haven't figured out how to market in a way that feels good to you. So, and in addition to not yet knowing how it works for you, we have a lot of negative beliefs around marketing. And the way I found that out is I became an EFT practitioner, tapping, for those people who are familiar. You go through the tapping points, right, Andrea knows. Yep. And I work with a lot of clients on their marketing beliefs. And what I found out is that people say marketing is yuck. And it's slimy and pushy and manipulative. and salesy and disruptive for themselves and for their clients. All these things we believe about marketing stop us from actually marketing. And so this, and each card has some kind of a negative belief. For example, I don't know if you can see it, marketing is too disruptive, and that there is an explanation of what that means. And then on the back of the card is a positive reframe that gets into your heart, gets into your intuition, creativity. And then there's a question at the bottom of each card that actually um, moves you to take bold action. And so there's 44 cards like that. And I really believe that if you go through each card, maybe one card per day for the next 44 days, and those negative beliefs about marketing, you will come out with such clarity, confidence, and ideas for your
I
market.
love that. So let me ask you this. So yeah, you kind of just gave a little bit of it of how to use the cards. What are some examples? You said, okay, if an individual buys your deck of cards and then they just pick one, one a day for 44 days, what other ways? And then I shared with you that we are doing a retreat in a couple of weeks here, and we've got some of our team of certified productive environment specialists coming, and one of the days is dedicated just to them. And one of the big pieces is marketing, business development. So I'm excited to share the cards with them. And if you want to just give us a few tips on how we can do it. So how can people use them as an individual, and how can people use them as a group?
Yeah, well, there are a couple of ways to use it as an individual business owner. First of all, you can journal. You can read the card front to back and then answer the question in your journal. And doing that for like 30 to 44 days. Some cards may not be relevant to you. Maybe you don't think that marketing is disruptive, or maybe you don't care about joint ventures. But there are topics like that. And so you just pick the cards that you resonate with the most, and you just journal about them. So that's one way to do that. The other way is to choose the cards that you relate to. You can really feel in your body that is your belief and it's stopping you, and bring them to your coaching session with your own coach and say, this is what has been challenged for me and I'd like to discuss it. So that's another way. In a group environment, and I shared with you that I'm also going to be running my workshops for people using the Marketing Mojo card decks. You can partner people up and have them role play. One person is the client, another person is the coach. They read each other's cards and work through the questions. So together, that's one way to do that. But I'm sure, once you see the card deck, you will figure out many different ways that you can use it. You can once you work, you can tap through the card if that's something that you are open to doing. But the most important thing is to apply the cards to your business. Like, where do I see that? Where is this belief stopping me or slowing me down? And the questions these are not just mindset card decks. Like, you will actually start getting real marketing ideas. Like, this is the thing that I keep hearing from people. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. I don't have a big mailing list. That's what people tell me constantly. I don't have a big mailing list, and therefore I cannot market.
Okay, what does the card say? Yeah.
So I can't market my services because I don't have a big list. How can I market myself without having access to a list of people in my target audience? Like that, I hear that constantly. And so the reframe on the back side is really saying not having a mailing list is not a dead end. It's like this block. I don't have a list. I can't market, period. So it's not a dead end. Even the most successful entrepreneurs started from zero. I started from zero. And I built my list, 5, 10 people at a time. And often not having a list is the result of not focusing on building one. You just haven't been focused on that, right? And there are many ways to grow my list. This is my chance to start building it. And so the question here on the card is asking you, can I think of 3 strategies that successful business owners have used to start building their email list of potential clients and subscribers. So it just kind of opens up different ways that you can, like, it really focuses on helping you overcome that belief and start seeing things a little different and start answering the question, okay, everybody started from zero. What should I do first? Because it's that belief that is keeping you stuck. I don't have a list, nothing I can do. I don't have a list, I can't market.
Isn't that true of so many things, that how many times the thing that keeps us is a belief? We see that with people clearing the clutter from their office, or we have digital transformation boot camp clearing their email clutter, and the people just don't think it's possible, or I could never do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. This is going to take too long. It's like they don't believe it. And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't believe you can do it, that's exactly what's going to happen. And one of the things, when I first started, I was one of the founders of the National Association of Professional Organizers. And I remember one of the early years I went there, and we used to have a buddy program where you would come to a first-time person and give advice. And I would say, okay, at this event, you are going to hear people who say, this is what you need to do to market your business. And you will hear somebody else say, this is what you need to do. And they are direct opposite of each other.
Yes.
And they will be equally successful. And so the question, and what came out of it as a principle for PEI, was when people would say, what should I do? We always say, that's the wrong question. The question is, what will you do? And it seems to me that these cards are a tool to help you get clear about what you're willing to do. Like, I've learned, for example, that I love to make phone calls. Making phone calls for me is just so easy.
Are you a unicorn?
I just a unicorn, Milana.
Yeah, I just pick up the phone and I say, and the way I do it, because I have a database that has a bunch of names in it, that when I transferred the database, I lost where they came from. So nobody was in there except that I met somewhere at a speaking engagement or something, but I lost the part that told me where it was. So I will pick up the phone and call and say, hello, this is Barbara Hemphill. Your name is in my database. And I know that means we've met at some time, but frankly, I don't remember where. And I just called to say hello. Did I catch you at a bad time? And maybe 2 times somebody says yes and hung up, and I'll say, okay, I'll call later. But the rest of the time, I had some of the best conversations and made sales because of that conversation. And the other one is, I am a card writer. When I was a little girl, we weren't allowed to work on Sunday. And one of the things my mother taught me was that Sunday after 9 was the time you wrote thank you cards. And as a very young child, I learned that there was good reason to write thank you cards to adults, because when you were polite to adults, they would do things for you when you wanted a testimonial for going to college or something like that. And that became a habit. And every Sunday afternoon, I write cards. And so whenever there's somebody that I see that just published a book or something like that, not so much anymore, because now we do it more digitally, and it's harder now because people don't publish their physical addresses anymore. So now to write a card to somebody, you have to go to a lot of effort to get their address. But I still love sending cards, and and I have some amazing stories about people saying, oh, I got a card from you 20 years ago and you said such and such, and I don't even remember sending the card. So it really is, this card deck, it seems to me, is a great way to help people figure out what they are willing to do to market their business. And it can be fun if you're doing the thing if you're doing what God created you to do naturally, it's not hard.
Well, and it's so true, because I think you will do things that feel light, easy, and fun for you. And like somebody said to me, oh my God, Milana, this is the best marketing book you've ever written. Because it's in a card format. It's so easy. You just pick a card and it leads you to a strategy, or intuitively making a decision of what you're going to do and how you're going to approach marketing. So we will do what doesn't feel complex to us.
Yeah.
And so this card deck really helps you discover those things. And it kind of allows you to tap into your intuition, your creativity, and innovation, because there's some things that you will not think about. reading a marketing book, because marketing books give us what? They give us formulas and methods and systems, right? When you take a marketing course, you learn how to market, like the foundations. But now what? I take dance classes, and I always ask my teacher, is this the right way? Is this the right pattern? And he will say, well, this is one of the patterns, and you can do this way and this way and this way and this way. And I always say, well, can you give me just one way that's the right way? And that's because I'm a beginner or like intermediate dance
Yes.
student, right? But the advanced dancers, they learned the formulas and the patterns and they forgot about them, and now they're dancing the way they feel. And so this is what the card deck is going to help you do, is feel into your marketing strategy and find the right way for you to do it, because marketing is not optional. And that's what a lot of business owners don't really understand, especially healers, coaches, speakers, people who love what they do but don't love marketing, right?
Yeah.
And so marketing is not optional. So what's the solution?
Yeah.
Find
I think that interesting. One of the things that the comment about that's the best book you've ever written, and part of the reason that the cards are more valuable than a book in some ways is that a book seems overwhelming. You know, oh, I know this works, and I know if I do it, but I've got to read it all, and I've got, and it seems overwhelming. And by putting it into flashcards, you made it so that people could take it at their pace and they could do a little bit at a time. So I think it's very, very innovative and creative, as you are. So once again, you hit a nail on the head.
Yeah, and I think Kathy Music describes exactly what you were just saying, Barbara, that Milana has put it in a digestible way. It's a digestible way to handle marketing. Most people don't think they're creative or innovative.
And I'm telling you, you spend a month with these cards and journal every day, pick those cards that really resonate with you. You will start, not only you will start marketing, you will start seeing and feeling differently about that part of your business. Any successful business owner will probably tell you that they spend at least 30% of their workday or work week on marketing. If they don't, maybe they have a team, but marketing is a core activity. It's the driver of your business growth. Without marketing, nothing happens. I think somebody said that about sales. Without sales, nothing happens.
Yeah, and marketing has to come. Marketing comes before sales, right?
Exactly.
And so there are so many, to Barbara's point earlier, there's people that'll tell you, you need to do this, or you should do this, or you see somebody super successful and you're like, oh, I want to do what they do. I should do what they did. But it may not fit with your personality. It may not fit with, like you said, what energizes you. Barbara and I have found we love to do webinars. We love to do webinars together. That is part of the thing. One of the things I was thinking about as people are going through the cards and learning the new things and like, oh yeah, pay attention to what excites you and pay attention to what is like, no, that I would never do that. Pay attention to that. And then whatever you settle on, there'll be multiple strategies, right? But you're going to then need a system to implement. And we are all about systems, saving you space, time, energy, and money. So you need a system to implement your marketing strategy, whether that's a CRM, whether that's the systems are needed before the CRM. How are you going to capture the information to put into the CRM? Where do you capture that? Where
the CRM is just a tool, but you need to know how you're going to use it.
Exactly. And those are some of the things that we teach in we have a lot of our entrepreneurs that come to our digital boot camp. We have an office transformation boot camp and then a digital transformation boot camp. And we talk about how people's stuff is in silos, like their email is in one silo. And then their social media is in another silo. And then their text messages and their phone calls. And then their ideas are all in these different and separate silos. And we talk about bringing them together so that you can, manage them all together. So systems are needed. And then also one more thing, I don't know if you wanted to mention it. Let me share this comment first, and then I'm going to mention something, Milana, that you might want to talk about. Carrie Thomas is one of our specialists too. She said, I love this. I see how choosing a card could get people unstuck without being overwhelming. Yes, I love that idea.
Well, we often talk about the art of productivity. And what you're presenting here is the art of marketing. And so we'll say, of what you want your office to look like, for example, or paint a picture of how you want your computer to work, and then we'll help you get there. And that's what you've done. You're saying to the people of your cards, explore what picture, what work, what's the art for you, so you can, in our terms, accomplish your work and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And I was very, I see that puppy in the back.
That's buddy.
And I was very fortunate that the designer that I worked with, because, creating a card deck, this was my very first card deck. It was very interesting. I've created 2 more card decks since then, but it was very interesting to design the cards in a way that capture both the negative side and the positive side. You normally have just one image on the card, but that didn't work because I needed both a negative side and a positive side. And she actually decided to choose stick figures. And, they look very non-threatening, right? And she basically created a story on each card. Here's one on fear of networking, and there's a lot of those kind of emotional stick figures of all things. And so I was very lucky that she came up with this idea to make it also simple, because I wanted it to look simple. There are business card decks out there that I've seen. They're so complicated and they're so intimidating. There's so much going on and so many steps and things you need to do, and I just wanted something very simple. And so like this one says, self-promotion feels like bragging. How I came up with these is, I was working with clients through tapping, and these are the things they said to me, but then I had to validate each of these messages, each of these negative beliefs. And what I did is I did market research. I invited 30 people for a one-on-one session with me. And I would start by asking them, so how do you feel about marketing? How do you really feel about marketing? And as they answered my question, I took notes, and this is the card that matches their belief. Oh, this is the card that matches the other belief. And I would choose 3 cards, and then we worked through 3 cards in a 30-minute session. And by the end of the session, they were so excited about marketing, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it is. I can't wait to get started.
I love it. You didn't have the cards yet, but I was one of you and I talked, and you asked me the questions. How do you feel about marketing? We had we reconnected.
You were one of the people. You were part of my market research.
Yes.
Because you always want to validate that the product you're creating is working. And so I had that kind of experience with every single person is marketing.
I love it.
Not loving it. And then when we started getting to the bottom, like, why don't you love it? Those negative beliefs started to come up. So these were it's a coaching tool basically for.
I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to use it for myself personally, but also at our retreat. We have a comment here I want to share. Nancy is one of our SOAR clients, Systemize, Organize, Activate, so you can relate. This is also fantastic for volunteer work, how to reach people to join in our mission. Yeah, I love it.
That's marketing too, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to share a couple of links here. So Eds, if you'll put up Milana's link to her cards. So those of you that are like, I want to see the cards, give me the dang cards, marketingmojomethod.com. So you guys can go check out marketingmojomethod.com. We're going to put this wherever you're watching us from. Join us over on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to our channel over there. Like this video, share this video with anybody that you know that is an entrepreneur, or even like, as Nancy said, in volunteer work, but you're trying to, you in volunteer. I mean, that takes nonprofits need marketing. Everybody needs marketing, right? So these are great for everyone. So there's our YouTube channel. The link to Milana's cards will be in there, as well as Milana. I think we should also share in our description on YouTube I just said, you need a system. You need systems to implement your tools. you created another amazing system. The only reason we're not using it is because we were already deeply involved in another tool that we use for our coaching and our programs, but you created something for coaches. Do you want to share about that briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing coaching for over 20 years, and because as a music teacher, I was trained to work with groups. So when I discovered group coaching, it's kind of the same thing, just adults.
Mhm.
And so I love group coaching and creating group coaching programs. What I didn't have was a way for me to bring all the pieces together of coaching programs. Even if you work with a one-on-one client, you still need a way to communicate with them, maybe give them feedback between the calls, send them weekly check-in forms, just do all those moving pieces. And if you do group programs, then you need to engage the group members and connect them, make sure they have a way to encourage each other and support one another. So I just wanted that space, that container for my clients and for my programs, for my content. And so that's how Coaching Genie was born. And I always like to do this gesture, Genie as the magic lamp. That's my sign language for Genie, coachinggenie.com. And so it's been, people who discover it. It's one of those products that people didn't know they needed until they find it.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people will look to a course builder, that releases content. But we know that coaching programs is not just about content, right? It's not just about sending people videos and audios. It's really about building a connection and connections, a community, collecting homework, giving feedback, motivating and inspiring people through all kinds of interactive things, accountability features. So it has everything you need to deliver your coaching program to private clients and to groups. That's what it does.
It's very cool. Very cool. And like everything that you do, you simplify everything. You
Yes.
cut out all the complexity of
Clutter-free. That's why
clutter-free.
Yeah, clutter-free.
It's really interesting. Somebody said to me, Milana, I signed up for Coaching Genie, and I can tell, number one, I can tell it was designed by a woman. And number two, she said it has your European discipline approach. Like everything has its own place. Because I was looking, like Barbara, if you were using it, I think you would love it, and Andrea, you as well, because it's it's got a little place, a little box for everything.
I do love it. I do love it. Like I said, we were already so deeply invested in what we were doing already, and my team would have killed me if I said, well, we're going to switch over to this thing. But I do recommend it. I do recommend it for someone that is a coach, whether you're doing individual or group coaching. So definitely check out coachinggenie.com. Really check out anything Milana's doing. Milana.com. Milana.com.
That exists as well, although it needs a redesign in the next few months to update everything. But yes.
I'm one of your biggest fans, Milana. I'm truly one of your biggest fans. I love everything that you create. So we're going to wrap up, and Milana, I'll give you the last word before we do that. I do want to invite you, all of our listeners, to our upcoming webinar. So you can, depending on when you're watching this video, it's either going to be, so it's productiveenvironment.com/webinar, and it's going to be either less clutter, more life, or less digital clutter, more life is the name of the webinar. They're both extremely related. So if you need one, you need them both. So it doesn't really matter which one you see. So definitely check that out. We are starting a new office transformation boot camp in January. So take the rest of this month and December to kind of, get some downtime, regroup, think about what you want to accomplish next year. And if getting organized is on your New Year's resolutions or your word of the year or whatever it is that you do, we would love to have you join us for our boot camp coming up in January. So again, depending on when you're watching this, we probably have another one. So you can check that out too. But Milana, thank you so much for joining us. And Barbara, if you want to say anything, and let's give Milana the last word. So Barbara.
I just want to say thank you, Milana. We're excited always for everything we hear that you're doing, and whatever's new and next, we want to know about it.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I mean, when I created the card deck marketing mojo method, I actually was surprised that nothing like this exists. People have negative beliefs about everything, relationships, money. Why not about marketing? And so, since I teach marketing, this seemed to me like the next very natural product for me to develop. And I will say that, using this card deck in your business, if you haven't marketed yourself as much as you believe you should, or if you feel resistance around marketing, using this card deck will transform your relationship with marketing completely. Because when you're able to see differently, you also take action differently. And so, the goal is for marketing to become a joyful part of your business. How cool would that be? That you wake up and you love what kind of marketing you're going to do today. So that's my mission.
So it's part of accomplish your work and enjoy your life.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to end the stream, and be sure to send us your comments, post wherever you're watching us from. Let us hear from you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.